bill first. This is House Bill 1583. Can I have an amendment and vote for substitute?
Second.
Move the second without objection. And the amendment is for substitute for 1583. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. It's before you. And Dr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank the committee for its time this afternoon in hearing this presentation. I know you're have a lot on your table, so I've lessened my time to about 30 minutes. Would that be sufficient? No? Okay. All right. I'll be as quick as I can and do justice to the bill. How's that? As a longtime member of the Broadband Advisory Council, I know how essential it is to extend broadband to every region in Virginia. Today, a region without broadband is a region with an economy that can't grow, cannot create jobs, and can't provide a world-class education to its children. The Internet Highway is just as important to our Commonwealth's infrastructure as our roads, metro, and rails are. 9 Go Virginia regions have identified broadband as a top priority, while Virginia Beach is partnering with Microsoft to become a landing point for over 7,000 miles of transoceanic cable traveling across the Atlantic Ocean from Spain that will bring numerous economic opportunities if we're prepared and ready with a plan. Yet Virginia is still trying to find solutions for basic connectivity. There are various projects occurring across the state with federal, state, tobacco commission, and local grant money, but there's no single point of contact or repository that's designated to have responsibility and oversight for these activities. If we're going to achieve the goal of ensuring Virginians have access to broadband and that we are monitoring and moving forward, there must be a dedicated official charged with the responsibility of meeting this challenge, ensuring that we're using our tax dollars in the most efficient and effective manner. Someone with the expertise for the position that's devoted entirely to ensuring that Virginia has a plan in place for the broadband needs of the future. We have an opportunity to get this framework in place now instead of coming back 10 years from now with a JLARC report trying to clean up the mess, which so often happens. I want to thank particularly Chairman Jones for working with me, Robert and Skip and the rest of the folks that were involved in this process. The presentation that the Appropriations Committee did, Skip, you did a great job on that presentation in the fall, trying to ensure that the committee had an opportunity to really see what was going on with broadband and not going on, quite frankly. The discussions that we've had, and the thing that came to mind is I tried to formulate what needed to be done was kind of parallel to like workforce. You know, workforce became such a priority in the state, and we had so many people involved in it, so many multiple agencies, we had to unravel that just to find out where we could best use funds to make sure we were doing what we needed to do. And with broadband, you know, Virginia no longer has a Secretary of Technology. This position would serve under the Secretary of Commerce and Trade, so there is no one person that's totally devoted to what is going on. Well, there's a lot of advisory councils, and there's Go Virginias and things like that. We need a place that will put a framework in place and someone that can answer back to the General Assembly, answer back to this committee as to progress that's being made. I think we need to make sure we include things that we can measure as to what we're getting accomplished. We need someone that can communicate with folks in Washington in regard to federal dollars. We need someone that has the expertise to understand what works in some areas and doesn't work in others. So in light of your time, the bill pretty much lays out a framework for that. The bill creates a position in the Office of the Secretary of Commerce and Trade. Though the single point of contact and integration for broadband issues, efforts, and initiatives. They are, we have the description of the expertise. My vision isn't just to have an appointment that's a friend of a friend, but someone that actually really has expertise in these specific areas, expertise specifically in economic development, someone that understands how we're going to, be connected to some of the bigger economic opportunities as well as the last mile solutions. The chief advisor is going to be staffed by CIT and the Department of Housing and Community Development. All agencies will provide assistance to the chief advisor. They're going to integrate activities, as I mentioned, across all different agencies, federal government. They're going to look into research into public grants. The only way I think that we're going to solve some of our problems of broadband is public-private partnerships. The reason we haven't been able, not only just geographically and the fact that some of the gaps that we still have are specific to different solutions, but the only way that we're going to do this is to make a business model so that we can afford to go in and do what needs to get done to bring broadband to those areas that don't have it. We specifically need to make sure that our schools are up to speed and need the proper speeds to do the work that's going to be done. And some of the things of the future, I've even heard the other night at one of our rural meetings that we had talked about farmers and how they're using GPS on their tractors and different things that they utilize in their farms now. So it's not just metropolitan areas. So this position would be responsible for continually monitoring all those things and the investments that are being made and research and evaluation, coordinating with the different agencies, Go Virginia, then coming back and reporting to all of us, not only with a strategic plan that many times we see just put on a shelf, but a plan and report that actually has to address some of the things that we've asked them to do. So I'm willing to answer any questions you have, and
Yeah, Delegate Mayor, and I think that all of us, I think we understand what the bill does, and there's a lot of support for the ones in the audience that are for this. I think if you would just stand so we can see, yes, okay. Any opposition to the bill? Thank you. I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, since Delegate Byron and the chairman have been working very diligently on this, I would move to report the substitute.
It's been moved and seconded. We will report the amendment nature substitute for House Bill 1583. Everybody ready to vote? All in favor, vote yes. All opposed, vote no. Clerk, close the roll. Ayes 7, no 0. The bill is approved.
thank you very much.
Okay. Next, we have House Bill 1080. This is Delegate Yancey's bill, and this is somewhat controversial, and this is, I will entertain it. Is Delegate Yancey here by chance? Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. We lay this bill gently on the table. Any discussion? Everybody ready to vote? Lay it on the table. Clerk will close the roll. Ayes 7, no 0. The bill is on the table. Is there anything else? Would you?